Breaking this morning, Hamas has released 3 hostages, including 1 U.S. citizen. It is the 4th exchange that's part of an ongoing ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel. American Keith Siegel and Israelis Yarden Bibas and Ofer Calderon are now reuniting with loved ones after being held captive for nearly 500 days. This is the moment Siegel was handed over from the Red Cross to the IDF a short time ago. Siegel arrived at a Tel Aviv hospital for medical evaluation. Joining us now is former Assistant Deputy Secretary of Defense, Evelyn Farkas. She's also Executive Director of the McCain Institute.
When you came in and sat down, Alicia noted, she said, this is like the first bit of it's more good news that this is holding, the ceasefire is holding. But as Alicia had been discussing all morning with Aaron David Miller and others, this is a very fragile moment. And this is step 1. Phase 2 is the thing that many people are watching and concerned that it may not hold.
Yeah, Simone. I mean, I think we are really at a crossroads right now. It's been good news so far. There's a chance that it will continue as planned. But the president, our president, really needs to put pressure on the Israeli government to continue. That is really the key point here, because Netanyahu has a lot of reasons to try to walk away from this agreement, especially once the hostages are released.
I was so struck by the statement from Keith Siegel's family, which, of course, they are relieved and happy that they are going, to get him back. They thank President Trump, but they quickly pivot to the fact that there are still 79 hostages who are also waiting to be reunited with their loved ones, saying, "Our hope rests with you. We also wish to thank the governments of Israel and the United States for bringing this blessed deal to fruition, a deal that prioritizes human life and embodies Jewish and Israeli values. There is still a long road ahead."
Yeah, I mean, I think that they feel this is really precarious. And we saw this, the first hostage release was, 15 months ago until the more recent ones. The door slammed shut. So painful, to wait for so long. And I think they recognize that there are other families behind them waiting. So that is important. The political dynamics are incredibly complicated. We also start talking about that. In the next phases, we need more countries coming to the table, helping with the security agreement and then the rebuilding of Gaza. And we can't have ethnic cleansing. We can't create a situation where people can't go home to Gaza. We also have to keep an eye on what's happening in the West Bank. I think it was interesting that the Trump envoy, Mr. Witkoff, went to Gaza. That was the first time since 2009, I believe, that a U.S. official went to Gaza. It's a good sign. We also need eyes on the West Bank because, again, this hardline government, the Israeli hardline government, they don't want a two-state solution. And so they're putting more pressure. I was there last June. They were putting pressure on the people in the West Bank, the Palestinians there. They've only increased it.
What do you make of this assessment in foreign policy? It came out yesterday. Netanyahu's visits Washington in a much weaker position than Trump. And if there is one thing we can say with confidence about Trump, is that he will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Trump is unlikely to restrict or condition U.S. military assistance to Israel, just as Biden refrained from doing so. But Trump's unpredictability should concern Netanyahu. Trump is the Republican Party now, and Netanyahu cannot turn to his familiar tactic of reaching over a U.S. president's head for congressional support. Netanyahu will go home with good optics, but relatively empty pockets, either in material or commitments.
Yeah, I saw that, Michael, that foreign policy piece. It's great, and I agree with it. It's going to be great optics, of course, for President Trump. He'll look like the strong leader, and he is the stronger leader. Netanyahu right now is on the verge of losing power. His government rests on this right wing. They're saying if this continues as is, meaning if we go towards a two-state solution, towards rebuilding Gaza with Palestinians living there, that they will remove themselves from government, which means his government will collapse. Now he's negotiating with the opposition, the opposition parties in Israel, to try to make sure that he can hold on to power, and he'd like to go to elections and keep holding on to power. That's very tenuous. And if Trump makes him look weak, then he will also have trouble back at home. He's coming here, though, to try to look stronger so that he can go into a future election, that he can go back to Israel saying, I have the backing of the United States. But President Trump, make no mistake, he wants an end to the conflict. And that's not what Netanyahu and his far right
Right. I was going to say, what
want.
incentives does Trump have to prop up Netanyahu any further?
Well, I mean, he doesn't. He said the world would be more peaceful under him, and that the Middle East, he can get everybody to do what he wants. And I do think that this is also a precarious moment for President Trump. He said in the beginning that he would end the war in Ukraine, on day one. The war in Ukraine is still happening. Russia's war in Ukraine. He said that he would bring all the hostages home, and this would immediately end. All the hostages are not yet home. This is a very fragile situation. I just think about, as we were discussing, what happens to the people in Gaza? Who rebuilds Gaza? How many of their homes are rubble at this point.
Right.
Especially when, on one hand, you have, people inside the Trump administration saying we're going to need 10 to 15 years to rebuild, and then you have Trump himself trying to displace Palestinians to surrounding.
Basically saying it's nice real estate.
Correct.
And talking about a beachfront property. What?
He sees a Trump Tower hotel in
It is distressful.
Gaza.
Well, there was something with Kushner way back, not that far back, actually. I would say that, first of all, 10 to 15 years sounds too long. It shouldn't take that long. And frankly, the Saudis need to come to the table. What President Trump wants more than anything, obviously he wants peace, he wants stability, but he wants to see the finalization of his Abraham Accords project, which means that Israel and Saudi Arabia have a diplomatic arrangement where they're normalize their relations and they can do business, they can do deals. Saudi Arabia will not agree to that until there is a solution for the Palestinian people, not because the Saudi rulers care that much about the Palestinian people, but the Saudi people do, and they don't want trouble with their people. So the Saudi Arabians, with all their money, they can help rebuild Gaza, I'm sure, faster than 10 to 15 years.
Interesting. Tom.
All right. Evelyn Farkas, we appreciate your time and your insight this morning. Thank you.